Welcome to Roots and Branches of Lehi, the podcast where we get to know the faces, stories, and lives that make up our community. I'm Ryan Harding, and I started this podcast as a way for us all to connect with the people we live alongside. Growing up in a small town, I learned that connections go beyond blood. They're built through shared experiences, friendships, and the moments we celebrate together. Each week, we'll sit down with someone new from Lehi to share their unique story, their passions, and what they love most about living here. So whether you've been here for years or just arrived, join us as we deepen our roots and reach out to our branches one story at a time. Okay. All right. Welcome, Reid and Katie Madsen, to Roots and Branches of Lehi, where we get to know you a little bit and discover your story and hear kind of why you guys are so cool. That's what we're going to do.
You're our neighbor, I guess that's why.
We do know each other. That is true. Talk to me about, so I'm going to ask a question. I already know the answer, but tell me, you from Lehi? How long have you guys been here for?
I'll let Katie start.
We've been in Lehi for about 13 years.
Okay.
And we moved here from Texas.
Okay.
From Dallas area. And before that, we lived in Orem and Provo. And then Reid got a job down in Dallas, so we moved to Texas for about 17 years.
Okay, good amount of time.
And then he got a job at FamilySearch, so we moved back and decided to live in Lehi.
Okay, and we're grateful you did. So, have you enjoyed Lehi? Has that been a good move for you, coming from Texas?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's a difference in the percentage of church membership.
Sure.
Part of your neighborhood is your ward, and you worship together, and you do things together to serve each other.
Yeah.
And that's been very good for us.
Yeah.
I suffer from Parkinson's disease, so there's certain things I won't do anymore. Get on top of a ladder.
Sure.
So I rely on my friends and neighbors here in Lehi. They come over and help me out.
Yeah.
We have great neighbors.
We have great neighbors.
Yeah. Good. Talk to me about, did you guys meet in Orem, Provo area? Is that where you guys met? Or talk to me about the origin story of Reid and Katie Madsen.
I'll let Katie discuss her days in Compton, and then I'll talk about mine.
Yeah, so I grew up in Compton, California.
Okay.
And the Watts riots happened in '65.
Okay.
I was 14, and my parents moved us out to Orange County. Our ward building was right across the street from Knott's Berry Farm.
Okay.
So as a teenager, we used to hang out at Knott's Berry Farm.
Sure, all the time.
And that was before they put all the fences up and everything, and you had to charge to get in. We had a great time just hanging out at Knott's Berry Farm.
I bet.
So then I went to BYU,
Yeah.
and I didn't meet Reid until I was a fifth-year senior.
Okay.
So that's how we met. I played my violin at sacrament meeting, and our family joke is that I mesmerized him.
Were you mesmerized, Reid?
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm going to start with my story, and then we'll get to the,
All right, go ahead.
the mesmerization. I was born in Oakland, California. The hospital is actually in Berkeley, but my address on the birth certificate says Oakland.
Okay.
And so due to a clerical error, I'm a conservative and not a liberal.
Okay.
Anyway, we moved here to Utah in '62, I think it was. I was 10 years old. That's about right. And shortly thereafter, my father accepted an assignment from the church building department to work on a new stake center in Montevideo, Uruguay. And we spent 2 years down there, and then my dad had to come home because of bad health. So I came home. We lived up in the Matalupas Cove area. And then after a few years after that, it would have been my first year at Skyline High School. I'd been in class for about a month, and my dad accepted a position in Tonga to do the same thing he was doing in Nuku'alofa. So my life changed, literally, from high school experience at Skyline High to high school experience in Tonga, where they don't do the things we do.
Tonga's very different than Utah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was a big change, but there were 8 other American teenagers there, and we did everything together.
Sure.
Go to the beach, go to the movies, go to school, do our homework, rinse and repeat. So we didn't do a lot of one-on-one dating. We did everything together.
Sure.
We had a lot of fun for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I went to all 3 years of high school at Lehi High School, which is the high school for part of Oceania. So we had students from Tahiti and Fiji and Tonga and other places in Oceania. Interesting experience.
Yeah, very culturally different than. Was there many Americans there at this? Or?
There were a lot of American families at the school
Okay.
as teachers.
Okay.
And that's where the kids came from. And it was in 1969, just shortly after my graduation. So we used to have people come to our services there at the college because we had the only services in English on the island. So on Sundays, we'd often have visitors. And one Sunday, this couple came up and cornered me and asked me what I was doing there. They noticed that I was the only blonde-headed kid in the audience.
Sure.
So they were interested in what I was doing there. And so
Sure.
I talked to them for a while, and then they went on their merry way. Didn't think much of it. Then, skipping ahead 5 years now, when I came to BYU after my mission to Texas, I lived up in the Tree Street, which is on the east side of BYU campus. And our ward was composed of that area and one of the halls in Helaman halls of freshmen girls. There just wasn't a lot of dating going on because of the age difference.
Sure.
But over the break that year, summer vacation, they changed our ward boundaries. Same area up on the east side, but her apartment building was placed in our ward boundaries.
Very fortuitous.
Yes. And it was on a Sunday. I was asleep, or mostly asleep, in the congregation, and I felt something nudge me, and I awoke, and there was this really beautiful young woman playing her violin, and that was Katie Bell. And at that moment, I had this really strong impression that I should get to know her, and I did. And she can tell you a little bit more about that from her side. You want to tell a little bit more?
So
You can cut that out.
he asked me to homecoming, but it was funny because he just came over and said, "Have you been asked to homecoming?" I said, "When is it?" It was like a month away.
Yeah.
And then he said this really cool line. He said,
Oh,
"Consider yourself asked."
I was summoning all my coolness, and that's all I could come up with.
Hey, girls are intimidating sometimes,
Yeah,
especially
but
the ones you like.
It reminded me of how my dad first asked my mother, because they were at a church function and they were announcing a dance, and my dad said to my mom, "Best we go." My mom looked at him and, "What? Well, best we go."
Yeah.
And so that's just how Reid asked me, "Consider yourself asked." It just popped that back into my head about how my dad asked my mom, and
Yeah.
it just made me laugh. So it was fun that time.
And we're grateful that you chose to go on that date. It sounds like that was the beginning of many dates.
We dated for that semester, and she decided she loved me and wanted to take me home and show her parents her acquisition.
And they approved, obviously, I guess?
Well, they approved, but they were the two people that I spoke to in sacrament meeting there in Tonga 5 years earlier.
Oh, okay. So there was a little bit of a connection there.
There was a connection. It took us about an hour to make that connection after we got there. Once they realized I'd gone to high school in Tonga, they had lots of questions about that. And so once that bridge was crossed, I was accepted.
Yeah, that's a big, hey, wait a second. We already knew you before. Oh, that's pretty cool. And what were they doing in Tonga? What?
They were on vacation.
Just on vacation.
South Sea Island tour.
Yeah. That's not a vacation many people go on, I don't think.
No, but that was wake up and smell the roses, Reid.
Yeah. Somebody's got direction in your life here a little bit.
So we got engaged on January 1st, 1974. We got married and got married in the Los Angeles Temple, and we came back and lived in South Orem on 16th South in an apartment. We stayed there a number of years, and then we moved on to other places like Provo and Orem, Texas.
Sure.
Anyway, that's how we got together. We're still together,
Almost 52 years.
almost 52 years. May 24th, 1974.
And how many children did you have?
We had 2 boys and then 2 girls,
Yeah.
and now we have 11 grandchildren.
Wow, that's awesome. And do they all live around here?
No, unfortunately, no.
No?
We have a daughter and a son that both live Pleasant Grove and Stansbury Park.
Okay.
And then we have the majority of our grandchildren live in Texas and Arizona.
Okay. So you'd go visit them, I guess, right?
Make the rounds
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's good. Okay, so talk to me then. Katie, let's start with you. So one of the things you're involved in is the Daughters of the American Revolution, the DAR.
Right.
How'd you get involved in that? What was the desire? Where did that desire come from, I guess, to get started on
Well,
that?
when we lived in Texas, I didn't know anything about it. None of my family members had ever joined.
Okay.
But I happened to go to a genealogy conference down there in Dallas, and I happened to sit next to someone who was in the DAR, and she was telling me about it, and oh, yeah, I would like to do that.
Sure.
So she told me how to get involved, and I put my application in, and so I'm the first person in my family line to
ever be
connect
involved.
to an American patriot in the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
That was 1999 when
Okay.
I got my application approved. And that was before, it took me 2 years to get my application all approved with all the documentation I needed, because it was before the internet.
Sure.
And
A little slower back then.
I was still writing letters and
Yeah.
getting things
Sure.
through the mail. But I've had great experiences with the DAR. What I like about it is you get to be the good in the world,
Yes.
all the good things. We help the veteran, we help active military families, and we also are involved in preserving historical sites
Yeah.
and records, which goes along with genealogy, family history that I love.
Yeah.
And we do a lot for the education of American school children.
Uh-huh.
We teach about Constitution Week in September. We go into the schools and tell them about the Constitution. And we have essay contests. Every year there's another theme. This year the theme was invite one of the founding fathers to lunch. And so that was a fun essay for the children to write. And then we give awards to them, and Good Citizen Awards. And one of my really favorite things to do is to speak at the naturalization ceremonies.
Okay.
That has been one of my favorite things to do.
What do you like about that? What do you like about that?
Oh, the newest citizens, I get to, get up and say, I know how hard it is to become a citizen, because one of our sons married a girl from South Africa. So we helped her gain her citizenship. So I remember the studying and all the money and the time that it took for her to become a citizen. And then in my talk, I have things drawn from the seal on the back of the dollar, pluribus unum, and out of many one, and the things that I went to John F. Kennedy High School, so that quote, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country, is one of the quotes that I always give in my speech. And it's just really thrilling to be there and see them take their oath and realize that, gee, I got this just because my parents were here and I was born here.
Yeah.
My ancestors came a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously a big impact on you. Any other experiences from that? How has that been to be involved? Because you've been involved. So what's your position there with the DAR? Is it
Right now, I'm chapter regent. I
Okay.
have been, actually, this is my third time to be chapter regent.
Okay.
Once in Texas and twice here in Utah. Some years ago, just 2022 through 2024, I was the state regent.
Okay.
And I got to go back to Washington, D.C. 3 times a year, each of those years, and meet with other state regents. And we toured Washington, D.C., and laid wreaths at different places. One of them was at the signers of the Declaration on the Mall, and the women, Vietnam veterans with the nurses and things, laid a wreath there. And one of my favorite things has been, I gave a presentation to my mother's assisted living place
Okay.
in Linden a few
Yeah.
years ago, and we had a patriotic program for Veterans Day
Yeah.
and honored all those veterans that were at the assisted living
Yeah.
place.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I played my violin for my mother because she didn't get to hear me play very much.
Yeah.
And one of the men, the veterans, came up to me, hobbled up to me after the program and thanked me for playing Oh Danny Boy, which was one of my mom's favorite songs. But it was special to him. And he had tears in his eyes, and what a privilege it was for me to bring that memory back to him.
Yeah.
So I've had just wonderful experiences connecting with people
Yeah.
through the DAR.
Yeah. It sounds like you have. You've been able to affect a lot of lives from there, and just be a part of the time that people's lives are being affected with the citizenship and different things like that. It obviously sounds like it's been a good impact on you. Any other stories from that, or any other thoughts on that program?
I've had experiences with my daughters, and now just recently my granddaughter joined. She's up at the University of Utah, and so I was able to get her application approved last July,
Okay.
and she's going to be with me next week at the Utah DAR State Conference, so that will be fun. I hope to have my granddaughters participate.
That's great. So it's become a family thing then.
Yeah.
A good excuse to be together as a family. I love that.
Yeah.
Pass on those virtues and blessings of freedom.
Yeah. 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 What has it been like for you, Reid, to see your wife involved in that? Has that been
I'm what they call a hodar.
a hodar?
Yeah, husband of DAR. I am the equipment manager.
Okay. So you get to be involved a little bit then too?
She invites me to all their events that I should go to, and I always go
Sure.
for the
Mostly
most.
the dinners.
Smart. Yes.
But I've accompanied her to D.C. a number of times now, and while she's in her meetings, I'm hiking around D.C. taking pictures and seeing things that
Yeah.
I want to see, and I've had a lot of fun doing that. But it's been a blessing in her life, so that has blessed my life as well.
Good. And now it's blessing your daughters and granddaughters. So continuing to do that and stuff. So that's awesome.
It's always nice to have something to do when you're at this age.
Sure.
And she is blazing the trail.
Yeah. You're supposed to retire. Come on, but you're just staying busy. Just keep doing stuff. Reid, FamilySearch is a job that you've had for the last several years. I know you've since retired.
Right.
But talk to me about that job, that transition and stuff like that. Because I remember you were in Texas and you were trying to figure out
We
the
were in
next
Texas.
path.
We were living in Plano, Texas, which is about 15, 20 miles north of downtown Dallas.
Sure.
And we had a nice home, swimming pool, air conditioning,
Sure.
and we thought we were going to be there forever. That's the way we felt. We were having a good time, had a good job, and there was no real need to do anything. But as that usually works out, the Lord has other things in mind for you. And so the company I was working for changed management, and I could tell they didn't like me anymore. So I started looking around, and I went to work for some friends in Dallas, and that didn't work out either. So one evening, after a particularly caustic long-distance phone call, I decided that was it. I was not going to participate with that anymore. And
Sure.
so I talked to Katie about it, and I resigned on November 30th, I think it was. And on November 1st, I put my resume on monster.com, and on Friday, I guess it was Saturday, December 2nd, I received an email from FamilySearch asking me if I was a member of the church and if I held the temple recommend. And so I replied in the affirmative, and that led to an interview. And a month later, I was working for FamilySearch in Salt Lake.
Wow.
And I split my time between Salt Lake and Provo. Half my team was in both locations. And I was hired. An interesting story about that. When I interviewed at FamilySearch, my eventual manager told me that they'd been looking for someone with my skill set for a long time and hadn't been able to find it, and that the job was mine if I wanted it. And I was, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Anyway, FamilySearch moved us up here, and it was a great experience. Built our home here and spent all that time working for FamilySearch. Now, I was hired at FamilySearch to solve their software build problems. They could not go a day without a software build failure in their release process. And it would take them almost all day to recover. So it was very difficult for them to make a release or to make progress. Spent too much time chasing down problems.
Sure.
So that was what I was hired to fix. And it took us a year really to get that under control. We used to have a 7:30 a.m. meeting called the Red Build Emergency every morning at 7 o'clock because the nightly build had failed and we had to go figure out why. And my team and myself were able to solve those problems using a variety of different tools, but we got the problem solved. And after that first year, we didn't have Red Build emergencies anymore.
Great.
Part of that was a change in direction the way they were doing software development on teams, but also we centralized all of our software build infrastructure so that they didn't have to worry about that. They could worry about the features they were trying to deliver.
Sure.
And I worked in that position for quite a while. Then my team and another team were merged at about the time we started using AWS for our web services. Prior to that time, we'd been using our own data center, which is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of time to order software and procure the software, get the software set or the hardware set up, and to get it up to the point where we can actually put the software on. And if you underestimate, it could take 6 months to get more hardware.
Yeah.
It just couldn't be as scalable as we wanted to be in that environment. So we looked around, and AWS appeared to be the most mature, and I believe they still are. But it took us a while to get out of our data centers, but not working there anymore, so I don't know exactly what our footprint is anymore. But I would say there's only very few things that require us to be in the data center, and everything else is now hosted off AWS servers. And if you were to go out and look on a Sunday afternoon at the load on the FamilySearch system, you might find 4,000 or 5,000 servers online handling all the millions of requests that are coming through.
Yeah.
And things have happened during my stay there that, excuse me, you're going to cut this out. There are things happened there that could only have happened through revelation.
Yeah.
So,
Any of them worth sharing? Any things that you feel like you could share?
no, I'll pass, I think.
Okay, you're going to pass on that?
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's interesting to understand what the role of FamilySearch is in terms of genealogical and family history work.
Yeah.
FamilySearch's role is to provide names and to provide tools that allow members of the church and non-members of the church who are looking for their family, putting their family tree together, can find the names, make those connections, and then add those names to the world tree that FamilySearch maintains. Could FamilySearch go out and do a lot of that for the people? Probably. With advances in optical character recognition, both printed and cursive,
Yeah.
they could probably put a lot of trees together for people without very much effort. But that's not the way the church or the work is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be done by the family for their ancestors, and not
just done for them. Sure. We're supposed to have some skin in the game, or some
yeah,
effort.
in the game. That's the right term.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what FamilySearch's role is, and they're doing a bang-up job. I think last year they added 1 billion names to the tree.
Wow.
Not to the tree, 1 billion names to the repository of names for people to find.
To put together.
And they have a unique problem. The church is building temples faster than FamilySearch can keep up. And so one of the things that FamilySearch attempts to do is to provide a certain percentage of the civil records in any area where the temples are being built, so that when the members come to the temple after the temple is dedicated, they'll be able to find names in their area for their families and bring those names to the temples. So it's an interesting division of labor. Church members have a responsibility to do the work. FamilySearch has a responsibility to provide the names.
And that, you mentioned something that's probably a lot of people think that family history work is as work, a lot of work. Oh, I don't know how to find names and different things like that. I think you bring up a good point, that it's maybe not as hard as, in fact, FamilySearch almost could do it themselves, but they want you to still click the button, do the thing.
Yeah.
And so maybe that would help people understand that it's maybe not as scary as they think if they haven't dived into it because, again, a lot of the information's there. Is that a true statement?
There is a lot of information out there to the point of the FamilySearch doing it for you. They bring as much information as they can, and they drop it right in your lap.
Yeah.
If you've received hints from the temple or from FamilySearch that this person might be and you're related to them in your tree, and then they're hoping that you will take the next step and go verify that information is correct and then add that name to the tree. So through hints and through campaigns like around 4th of July or Memorial Day weekend or Veterans Day, for example, they'll run campaigns trying to connect people with their patriots or
Sure.
other important individuals. And they're trying to draw people in. They're not doing it heavy-handedly.
Sure.
They're inviting you to come in.
Hey, come look at this.
And there's a lot of tools that are out there that FamilySearch has developed. FamilySearch has also partnered with large genealogical platforms like Ancestry and Find My Past and MyHeritage and others. So you can search databases on all those sites. And if you're a member of the church, you can get free memberships to all those that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing everything they can. The rest is up to us. And the fact that they're building so many temples, I think the message might actually catch on.
Sure, that's probably fair. Katie, what's it been like to see your husband? Because normally a job is a job, right? You have your separation of church and state, I guess you could say. Job, work, and then this. In his case, and I know he worked for long into normal retirement years because it was like, hey, if I did a mission, I'd probably be doing this kind of stuff, right? So I might as well just keep working for the church and stuff. But how has it been to see that? How much have you been a part of that too? Obviously, you enjoy family history. The DAR is a lot of family history stuff. I don't know, thoughts on that, I guess. But
since COVID, he was working at home.
Yes.
And we just had a little office in our home there, and he worked. And the stuff that he does, it's computer, and I look at the screen, and it doesn't make any sense to me what he's working on.
It's a different language.
It's the behind the scenes that he does with the computer software stuff.
Sure.
My own personal family history, I love to write stories about my ancestors. That's what I'm mostly involved in now, is wanting to I've gathered all these facts for years, and now I want to put them into a story so that my kids and grandkids will actually
want to read it.
And I have also done one video of my grandfather that I never knew. He died before I was born. So as I worked on it, I really felt connected to him.
Yeah.
And I also did a story about my mother's father, who had a real problem with alcohol, but he went to A and he overcame that. But it did cause him a lot of heartache in his life.
I'm sure.
But because he had to move away from his wife, it caused a divorce, and so I just wanted that in the story so that my posterity will know that they have this gene inside of them that makes them susceptible to alcoholism or to drugs or some kind of addiction. And I think that's important for them to know that, and that if they can stay away from it, then that will
bless
help
their
them.
lives. Yeah.
But when I was working on that story, I felt like I really felt more love for him, because he really did try to overcome, and he did overcome it at the end. So I have admiration for him in doing that.
So obviously a byproduct of family history is a lot of empathy and love for those that have been gone before us, right? I guess you could say the children's hearts are turning to the fathers, I guess you could say, huh?
Exactly. And when I have a hard day, I don't know, the garage door is broken again, it won't go up. Sure. Push the button and it doesn't work. Then I think, oh goodness, that's just nothing compared to what my ancestors have had to face. So I can live with that I can get by.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, I did retire in August of 2025.
Yeah.
And the reason I worked so long, in FamilySearch was because we were replacing much of the infrastructure that we had spent 10 years putting together.
Okay.
Every once in a while, it's nice to go out and sharpen the saw, make sure you're using the right tools.
Yeah.
And so we decided to migrate our entire build infrastructure from the tools that we were using into an AWS environment.
Okay.
And they wanted me to stick around until that work was done. That work was mostly done on January 1st of 2025 when they turned the old machines off.
Sure.
But there was all the missing pieces that we didn't have time to put together quite the way we wanted to. And
Yeah.
so it took us another 9 months, and at that point I could see that I was done.
Sure.
There was too much to learn.
Sure.
To
Old
keep
dog,
up.
new tricks.
It catches up with you after
It
a
does.
while.
It does.
So I decided it was time to retire, and my last day was August 29.
Okay. So only what? So I guess, yeah, about 10 months now. Let's see, 8 months?
8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, closer.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I've enjoyed not doing much.
Retirement's good for you.
I go to the temple and serve there once a week, and then I pick up a shift from somebody typically to
Sure.
kind of round out my temple week. I've been trying to go occasionally with my grandson, and that's been fun.
Good. What do you see, having worked at FamilySearch, what do you see the future with family? You're not too far removed from that. So as far as future projects or future things or where it goes, what do you see in the future with FamilySearch?
That's a good question because it changes so fast.
Sure, it does. And AI is changing a lot of things right now.
They are trying to figure out how to best integrate AI into our tools. I think that we've just scratched the surface on what we're able to do at FamilySearch. Like I mentioned earlier, we've had great success in optical character recognition. Scanning newspapers, we can scan the newspapers in and get all the names that are in there.
That's from a newspaper, sure.
And then you've seen sites like newspapers.com does that. You can access that through Ancestry if you like, but there's a lot of possibilities there of finding names. And they look for patterns so they can try to identify where the marriage announcements are and where the obituary announcements are, and so things like that they can extract and bring those records in, those names that are in those records in, and point that back to the record so that the researcher can find that name in that document. I think there's going to be a lot of progress in that area. The only thing that's holding our work back, I think, is finding the names. My wife has a name that we've been searching for 52 years. We have never been able to find. So we hope that someday that will be a possibility. Now, one of the things they introduced at RootsTech this year is full text search. So it used to be that you had to know that you were looking for a particular kind of a record, so you'd go to a particular database and search for that name. Now they've taken all those databases, the text from all those images, and you can do a full text search across all the information in all those documents and find all the documents that are available that has that name in it.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to open a lot of doors.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to go, really.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Come to RootsTech and find out.
That's the answer, is go to RootsTech. You both obviously have a love for family, for history, and different things like that. How are you able to pass that on to your children, your grandchildren? Obviously, you mentioned already that you're trying to preserve some of the stories. That's one of the things you're doing. What other things are you doing to try to pass that love down?
What's interesting in our family, both of us on both sides have become the repository for all the Bacher records and all the Madsen Jensen records. And so we have volumes and volumes of information that we don't know what to do with. So what's the best thing to do in that case if you have that kind of information? Where can you put it so that when your kids finally do get interested, that they can find it?
That it's somewhere, yeah.
And the answer is put it in FamilySearch if you can. If it's a text document, put it in FamilySearch. If it's a photo, put it in FamilySearch. And FamilySearch has made a promise that once you put information into FamilySearch, it'll be there in perpetuity. So why wouldn't you put it there?
Sure.
For example, who do you give the photo album to?
Yeah, you can only give it to one kid.
That's right. But if you give it to FamilySearch, then you can give it to everybody. Your view on that?
As far as the children and grandchildren, how are you passing on that love that you have for
Well, currently I have all the stuff.
Yes.
So if I don't take care of the stuff, it will go to the children
Sure.
and the grandchildren. So digitizing has been a real goal
Sure.
to get that done. And my quandary is I have some aunts and uncles that did not have children. So who do I give their wedding album to?
Yeah.
I have digitized all of those photos and things and letters, but
Sure.
my children don't know them. I knew them.
Yeah.
And I hate to think of just the wedding album going to the landfill.
Sure. At the same time, I guess you did get the important part. If you digitized it, at least it's out there. Somebody can get it and stuff. But yes, I know it's still hard to throw away, right?
Yeah.
So I get that. No, I get that.
There are some things we've done in addition to that. One of my brothers died on his mission, and so there's a lot of information about that the church is actually interested in gathering. So it's been a number of years ago now, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer. The church essentially sent us a letter saying, if you have any information here about your brother Keith, we'd be interested in archiving it.
Wow.
So it went into the church history archives.
Okay.
So if it's a document that has value to the church, that may be an option to put it there as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we gave a lot of stuff. We gave all my brother's photo albums and all of his letters, and they made copies of all that information for us. We had old reel-to-reel tapes of his funeral. Gave those to them, and they gave that information back to us on a zip drive. So that's an alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it was just a wooden, kind of a little wooden suitcase from my great-grandfather, Oscar Bacher. I always liked his name because it rhymes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was an immigrant from Sweden.
Okay.
But he went back when he was 50 to Sweden on a mission. And so this little suitcase, you opened it up, and it was like a flannel board story. You could set it up, and it had flannel board pictures of Joseph Smith and the father and the son. And so it was the missionary discussions in flannel board
Sure.
pictures.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they had the Swedish names for all of those pictures.
Yeah.
But I did give that to the church history library.
Yeah.
Yeah, church history.
Yeah, it was an
Yeah.
interesting little device because you pull that flannel board up. It was on like a
roller?
Venetian blind type
Okay,
thing, right?
sure,
You
yeah.
pull it up and you put these two rods up it and hold it
Yeah.
up. It's about this tall,
Yeah.
about that wide, and they could have a flannel board discussion with the.
Yeah. I remember flannel boards. I haven't seen a flannel board in a while, but my mom used to have those a lot
we
too.
used them in our mission, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how old I am.
Hey, I still remember them too, so it's okay. So.
One of the things I was able to find a place for from my aunt that didn't have any children. Her husband, my Uncle Paul, was in the Army, but he was stationed in Hawaii during Pearl Harbor. So he was there when Pearl
it all
Harbor
happened.
was bombed.
Wow.
And so she had her little diary, and she wrote, and when you read it about when it was bombed,
Yeah.
the shock and the what's going to happen to us and
Yeah.
uncertainty, it's all there in her diary.
Yeah.
And since I didn't think my kids would want it after, because I didn't know her, so I found a place in Texas. It's called the War of the Pacific in Fredericksburg, Texas. And so I wrote to them and asked them if they would like her diary, and they did. So
that's great.
So some things I've been able to find
give
a
away.
place
Yeah.
for.
But you still were you able to extract the information
Yeah.
and still, okay. So just the actual object you were then able to
Right.
give away and stuff. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, it's all on FamilySearch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to say, hey, you guys are the experts on that. So, good. So, how do you think? Obviously, you both have good, rich heritage and stuff like that. How do you think your ancestors have affected your lives? Knowing about, so as you have learned, and you already mentioned with the alcoholism and stuff like that, but as you've learned about ancestors, tell me how that's affected your life.
I'll go first. For a long period in my life, I would say that I didn't believe I had any pioneer ancestry.
Okay.
No great stories to
Sure.
tell. And it wasn't until I think we moved here that it started to dawn on me that I did have some interesting pioneer ancestry. My great-grandfather was Peter Madsen, and he was a resident of Lakeview, Utah, and was the bishop for probably 15 years, I think. And he was from Denmark. He was a fisherman, and he knew how to fish under the ice. And the year that the seagulls came and ate the crickets, they did not save the crops. The crops were decimated.
Yeah.
So when winter came, and not even that late, as soon as the harvest was done, they realized that we're going to starve.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
So my grandfather set up fishing operations on Utah Lake, and they fed the saints for that year.
Wow.
The saints came from all over the Intermountain area, and they'd come to the mouth of the Provo River where it empties into the lake.
Yeah.
And that's where he had set up camp, and they would catch the fish, and they would smoke them, or they'd let the people do whatever they wanted to do with them. Put them I don't know how you preserve fish, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But he fed the saints for that year, kept
That's
them
awesome.
from starving. And there's a plaque with his name on it as you cross over the Provo River to go into the Provo Boat Harbor area, Provo Lake Park, I can't remember what it's called, that acknowledges that fact. So you discover things as you go along.
Yeah.
So you're not going to discover them if you don't start.
Yeah, you got to get in there. And why do you like that story? What resonates with you on that one?
Like you, he fixed the problem.
Yeah, he
You're
fixed the
a fixer.
problem.
You're the engineer.
He figured out how to do the boom, to use booms to drag the nets across the lake under the ice,
Yeah.
and thereby being able to net the fish. I think I can't think of how I want to phrase that, so I'm going to pass.
Okay, you're good. You're good. Katie, what about you? Why have you had ancestors that resonate with you, and how has that kind of affected your life and maybe how you live your life?
All the time. Like when I have hard days, I just think, I come from good stock. I can get through this.
Yeah.
One of the experiences we had not too long ago, a couple of years ago, we went to Salt Lake to stay a couple of days, and it happened to snow, and then it melted really fast, and we walked from our hotel to the tabernacles. We wanted to see the recital, the organ recital. So by the time we got there, we were just drenched, and shoes, our clothes were just dripping wet. And I remember thinking to myself, I am so miserable.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm cold and wet. I don't like this.
Yeah.
And we sat there in the tabernacle, and he was playing, and then all of a sudden he started to play Come, Come Ye Saints. And to this day, I can remember how I felt as he started playing that, and Reid could say the same thing. We just felt like our ancestors were right there with us in that tabernacle, and I felt just close to them.
Sure.
And connected with them. And then at least I got to go home and take the shower
Sure.
and
The
get
hot
warm.
shower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they didn't have that option, right? They had to just stay wet and cold.
Yeah.
So I just think that we're all here to have a purpose and to lend that strength onto the next generation.
Sure. Sure.
So that's my story.
Oh, I love that.
And,
Thank you.
As he was playing the organ, we both had the realization that our ancestors were probably there at the same time, probably able to hear the organ played
Yeah.
and sit next to each other maybe in sacrament meeting or in conference meetings,
Sure.
set us off.
Ancestors are, well, if I remember right, you're also related to the Holbrook line, which is why we're fourth cousins, if I remember right. So,
I think that's right.
Yeah. I remember, because we did that app and stuff like that, so we're cousins. Fourth cousins, actually not too far distant. So,
Yeah, no removes.
Yeah,
Just
no re-
plain
yeah.
fourth cousins.
yeah, fourth cousins. So,
That's what's fun to go to Ridge Tech, because I met a third
third- okay.
cousin
Yeah.
and a second cousin.
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had something like 60,000 relatives at Ridge Tech.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's primarily due to the fact that my great-grandfather was a polygamist, had 5 wives, and
Yeah.
on his 71st birthday, they took a picture of his living progeny. There were like 660 people in the picture.
Yeah.
I'm probably related to the whole state by now.
Very likely. Like it or not, as we're talking about ancestors and stuff like that, you guys are on we'll say the upper end of age now, getting up there. So you have kids and grandkids, maybe great-grandkids soonish. In the future and stuff like that. So
Not that many years.
not too many. Yeah. So talk to me about, so if they're listening to this, let's say in the future sometime, what would you want them to know about you? What would you want your quote-unquote legacy to be? Or just talk to me about that for a second.
For me, I would want my posterity to know, just have faith. I don't know a lot of, I believe the Book of Mormon to be true. I have faith Joseph Smith was prophet. I obviously never met him, and I wasn't there when he had the vision, so can't
You're not
say
that old,
I know
right?
exactly what happened, right? But
Sure.
I have faith that did happen. And one of my very favorite talks in a conference some years ago was about stay in the boat. And
The Good Ship Zion, I
The
think.
Good Ship Zion, that's
Yeah.
correct. Absolutely.
Good Ship Zion, yeah. And that's where I want to be. I will just stay in the boat because I have faith. That's where I want to be. My ancestors were there, and they gave a lot to come to this country from Sweden and England, and I want to meet them and say, yeah, I was faithful also.
Sure.
So I want my posterity to know that about me.
Good. Love that. Thanks, Katie. Reid?
Yeah. I guess what I would like my kids to know is that Katie and I both have seen the hand of the Lord in our lives. When we came here to work for FamilySearch, I had never thought of FamilySearch as an employer prior to receiving that email that I mentioned earlier that invited me to interview.
Yeah.
But it wasn't during that interview that it became clear to me that I had not been in charge of my career, that the Lord had been pushing me the direction I didn't really want to go.
Sure.
So that by the time I got here to FamilySearch and interviewed, I had all the skills I needed to solve the problem that the Lord needed to have solved. So that and the story of how we met and other things have solidified in me, and Katie, I think, too, that the Lord has been watching over us. He knows who we are.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
My husband's a tender-hearted man.
He is.
One of the reasons I loved him.
I've known him for years, and I fully expected this.
Yeah. Anyway, we want our kids to know that. We've been blessed.
Yeah. Hey, and you're young. You still got many years ahead of you, but I like that. That's good. That's good. Is there anything, I mean, this has been a great discussion, and I love hearing your story and talking about it. Is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about, or anything before we conclude here?
I mentioned we met because I played my violin.
Yeah.
And I still play.
Good. Yes.
So I
Hey.
play with the American Folk Symphony. I play in the first violin section. And that's been a real joy in my life these last 4 years.
Yeah.
So I feel good that I can still contribute to the community
Yeah.
and be part of that. And that's been also something that is part of my history. My grandma bought 2 little violins during the Depression,
Okay.
and for my mom and her brother. And one of those violins is the one I started on. And then when I was 14, my parents bought me the one I have now. And my daughter plays on the one that my grandma bought.
Okay. Okay.
That's like an heirloom now, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Surely when I pass on, that my violin that I have now will go to one of my grandchildren.
Sure. Sure. Love that.
I'll share something about me that's occurred over the past 2 years. In April of 2024, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And we are truly blessed to live in a time when all the medical marvels are starting to unfold, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we sometimes pray for miracles to happen in our lives, to take things away that we don't want to have to endure. But in my case, I needed to go through the treatment process in order to get rid of the cancer. So I started taking testosterone blockers, hormone therapy, in April of 2024. And I continued until just recently, until first of the year. But in addition to that, I did radiation treatment, 2 months, going every day. have 15, 20 minutes of radiation directed at where the cancer is. And when I came out from that, my first doctor's appointment, he told me that I was in remission.
That's great.
But I want you to continue on the hormone blockers for another year. So we did. We just recently in January took me off the hormone blockers. Now my next doctor's appointment is in May. I'm in remission. If the PSA numbers stay at 0, then I can probably say I'm cancer-free.
Great.
But the message I want to deliver is sometimes miracles don't come through ministrations of the priesthood. Sometimes you have to go through the trial.
Sure.
So miracles come in multiple ways. Someone can lay their hands on your head and maybe perform that miracle for you. But if we didn't take advantage of the medical information that's out there, we'd be depriving ourselves of many miracles that could have been made.
Sure.
And so miracles come in different forms to different people. In my case, I had to go through the trial. Someone else, maybe they're miraculously healed.
Sure.
But it was worth it. So we hope to find good news in May.
Yeah.
Month away.
Yes.
I
Good.
think our appointment's on May 1st, actually. So anyway.
Good day. It'll be a good day. Thanks, Reid. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate you coming on and appreciate you talking to me for a little bit. And
It's good to see you again.
it's good to see you again,
We
too.
live 2 houses away. We never see each other.
I know. I wish we were in the same ward. They separated us, but
Yeah.
but that's okay. Thank you, both of you, for coming on. Thank you for telling your story, and keep at it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing good work. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ryan. Good to be here.
Good to be here.
Good to be crying in public.
Thank you for joining us on Roots and Branches of Lehi. I hope today's story helped you feel a little more connected to the people who make up our community. Remember, every person here has a unique story, and together, we're what makes Lehi feel like home. If you know someone who would be a great fit for this podcast, please fill out the form in the show notes so we can reach out and schedule an interview. We'd love to hear from you. A big thank you to our sponsors, the Work Harding Home Mortgage Team and Play Harding Nightly Vacation Rentals, for supporting this show and helping us bring our community closer together. Until next time, keep growing those roots and reaching out to your branches. Take care.